The Welder Wildlife Foundation came into being on the death of Rob Welder, passed away on the last day of 1953. And Mr. Welder had always, during the latter years of his life, seen a need to leave a part of his larger ranch as a legacy for future generations, and said that, and made that comment in his will. He indicated that he wanted us to do research and education in wildlife conservation and management. Wanted us to do it in the context of an operating cattle ranch and an active oil field. And that's what we've done over the years. Basically, we say that every acre and every cow on this refuge is a research unit. We have 17 miles of riverfront. We've got 22 different soil series on the Welder Refuge. And there's 16 different plant communities. So when old Mr. Rob picked this as his place to start a refuge, he didn't have all the ecological reasons why it was a good place for wildlife, but he knew that there was a lot of wildlife here. Our stated goal is to manage this 7,800 acre refuge for all species of wildlife. So if there are natives here that are endemic to brushlands, then we manage for them. If there are native species here that are endemic to grasslands, we manage for them. And we feel like that the healthiest ecosystems have the most species of both plant and animals out there that you can have, and I think that's adds stability to an ecosystem. I'm so pleased that our local landowners are getting into things like photography contests and using a little bit of innovation in obtaining funds to maintain and sustain the lands that they do have. The old historical landowners, they really have a tie to that land, and they know what's been there in the past. And thank the Lord that they can stay on the land and maintain what we do have in South Texas. The land is being broken up and bought by people who weren't raised on the land. Any given plant community out there in the coastal bend or in South Texas has anywhere from 50 to 200 native species in it. And that their whole goal in management should be, in my opinion, the maintenance of those 50 to 200 native species that are there. We don't have to talk about going out and plowing something up and putting something in there. It's already there. To any one of us who has been out in the wild and seen a sunset or a sunrise, or seen a newborn fawn take its first step, nurse on its mother for the first time, or seen a first flower bud in the spring, these plants and animals were put out here by a hand, a force larger than any of us. Do you suppose that the Welder Wildlife Refuge is the Noah's Ark of our current times? We all who are on the land and understand the land have a responsibility to be good stewards of the land and the animals, the plants and waters and everything that's out there. Fred Bryant and his guys down at Kingsville have described this as the last great habitat. And they're exactly right. It's just, it just breaks my heart to see it being parceled out into smaller parcels and these larger land ownerships being broken up. We got to maintain them somehow. We have to give people tools to make money off of the land, like this photo contest, so that they can hold those ownerships together. The photo contest is not just a contest for the photographers and the landowners, but that it's been made much larger than that. It's been made into a program through which we can pass this information on to future generations. I was lucky. I was raised on ranches in South Texas, and I got to see my first rattlesnake when I was probably less than 5 years old. And, I got to see things in a natural setting all of my growing up years. And kids don't get that anymore. And we got to get this book and the information that goes along with it out to those kids and instill in them some caring for, some desire to learn about the land. I don't know that there's very many people that get to be raised on the land like I have been. And we've got to give future generations the opportunity to see a rattlesnake in the wild and have the hair stand up on the back of their neck and understand that that's something that's wild and free, and it should be there, and it is there, you know.